Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where last weekend on Saturday we celebrated Ard van der Wetering's 80th birthday, and therefore we did a Sudoku puzzle by Ard, and very good it was too. Now, a number of you were not, I wouldn't say use the word disappointed, because that would be completely unfair. Ard's puzzle was wonderful, but you have got used to Saturdays being the day of the week on which we do a non-Sudoku puzzle. A so-called, pencil puzzle usually. And we are going to return to that theme today with a puzzle called Modular Fillomino by Math Pesto. Math Pesto's appeared on the channel so many times. Absolutely brilliant constructor. And we have had a lot of recommendations to try this one. I have had a skim read of the rules before I turned on the webcam. And this is certainly a rule set I have not seen before, at least definitely not combining these elements. And I did find it on Logic Masters Germany, and it does have 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty and a 100% approval rating. So it's sort of the quintessentially perfect puzzle. Certainly, if you like hard puzzles. And yeah, I'll read you the rules in a moment or two's time. After I've just given you a few updates on other things, let me just trot through them. We're drawing the winner very soon on our monthly competition over on Patreon, which was to win the opportunity to make a Sudoku video with me. You can choose how difficult it is. So we'll probably be announcing that on Monday, I think. And the solution videos, though, they should already be up. So if you were stuck on any of the puzzles, and there were some tough ones in Duality 2 by the Skunk Works, solution videos are now available, so do check those out. Our Fog of War app, feedback from that has been absolutely horrendous. If you like Fog of War Sudokus, and who doesn't? I do know there are 1 or 2 people who don't, but if you're normal and you like them, do check out the app. Puzzles by people like Vistamafel and Codec and James Sinclair. I think Math Pesto may have some as well, actually. I should know that off the top of my head, shouldn't I? Hang on a moment. Let me scan all of the various. I've got so many bits of paper. If honestly, I dread to think. Yeah, I am right. I thought Math Pesto. I thought I'd done a Math Pesto when I was testing and making hints, and I'm right. I don't know how many Math Pestos got in there, but there's at least one Math Pesto puzzle. Now, what else do I want to mention? There was other things as well. Well, no, let's do birthdays. I want to do birthdays. Birthdays and other announcements. Let's firstly say a very happy birthday over there in California to Alex. Alex, you've turned 12 today. I'm just so astonished and impressed when I get emails like the one I got from your mum. So this message is from your mum and dad, Lauren, and I'm going to say Michael. I might be mispronouncing Michael. I hope I'm not. But Alex, I've been told that Sudoku is your biggest passion, and you're currently trying to get to grips with girth symmetrical placement, which is a very, very difficult thing to grasp. I can tell you this as somebody who's been doing Sudoku for, 20 years or something. So you at the age of 12 are now grappling with that. That is, I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed. Alex, I hope you have a brilliant birthday today, with, of course, a large slice of Californian chocolate cake. Next, Eliza, it's your birthday. Neil wrote to us to let us know. Now, you guys might know Eliza and Neil under a different guy, or their different guises, full deck and missing a few cards. 2 extremely erudite maths professors, who I believe are just about to publish their 500th Sudoku puzzle. So they set as a collaborative team. 500 Sudoku creations. Isn't that amazing? And I suggest the 2 of you might enjoy Mark's video later. I know he was at least going to be attempting your puzzle. So if it doesn't appear, sorry, he's had a failure. Next, I want to say good luck he who limps and he who limps' mother, who I don't know the name of your mother, he who limps, but I know that the two of you are doing El Tour de Toussaint, a 30-mile cycle ride, I think today, commemorating the anniversary of when he who limps had his head drama. We've mentioned you before, I think, he who limps. It's an incredible story. I hope it goes very well, and I hope when you get to the end there is an enormous amount of calories that you can consume to sort of make up 30 miles. That is a pretty, yeah, that could be, if there are hills in there, that could be quite challenging. Anyway, I hope it goes very well. And I've got one more birthday to do, even younger than Alex. Quinton, you have turned 11 today. I know this because your dad Chris wrote to us, and again, it's the same thing. I am amazed at these young people who, you know, get passionate about watching these puzzle solves and attempting the puzzles. I have to say, I do think it must be quite a reasonable thing for a young mind to get involved with, because these puzzles are, well, I find them fascinating. I know lots of people do, and that you know, they do occupy your brain, and they stretch your brain, they exercise your brain, and there's nothing wrong with that. So Quinton, many happy returns. I hope you have a large slice of chocolate cake. And with that said and done, let's turn our attention to Math Pesto's puzzle, Modular Fillomino, and I will read you the rules. They are as follows. We have to divide the grid into polyominoes so that polyominoes of the same size don't share an edge. Each cell contains a number equal to its polyomino's size. So if those three squares were in a polyomino, that polyomino would be of size 3, and we would write 3 into those squares. Now, if that was the case, we could have a polyomino here of size 4, but let's say there was another naughty polyomino of size 3 here. That 3 couldn't go to that square, because if it did, we'd have 2 polyominoes of size 3 touching one another orthogonally or across an edge, and that is not allowed. They could touch diagonally, so that's perfectly fine, but they can't share an edge. So that is the first rule. Standard Fillomino, we might call that. Now, the next rule is not standard. Modular loop. Draw an orthogonal loop through the grid. The loop must not touch itself orthogonally, however it can touch diagonally. Along the loop, any 3 consecutive cells must contain numbers congruent to 0 mod 3, 1 mod 3 and 2 mod 3. Thank goodness there is then an explanation, because although I recognise that sentence is mathematically accurate, I do think if you're a non-mathematician, I would have just read a load of gibberish to you. But it then explains, it says, in other words, one of the numbers is from the set 3, 6, 9, 12, because if you divide 3, 6, 9, 12 by 3, you get a 0 remainder. That's the idea. That's what modulus means. 1 is from 1, 4, 7, 10, etc. So again, if you divide those numbers by 3, you get a 1 remainder. And 1 is from 2, 5, 8, 11, etc. Because if you divide those numbers by 3, you get a 2 remainder. So in any set of 3, let's say that we have to find a colour for what colour should we have? Red. So if this was the colour of our modular loop, and this was a set of 3 cells, there would have to be one of these cells would have to be from the 3, 6, 9, 12 set, one would have to be from the 1, 4, 7, 10 set, one would have to be from the 2, 5, 8, 11 set. And I mean, hopefully this isn't giving too much away, but think about this sort of thing. So if we were to have a colour for each type of digit in this 3-cell segment, you can see we haven't got a purple one yet, so that would have to be purple. So you get this sort of cycling effect as you move along loops or lines of this nature. So we have to draw, when it says draw an orthogonal loop, I think again what that's saying is we're not doing this, we're not going diagonally, and we are creating a loop as well, aren't we? Oops, I've managed to go diagonally very badly. So in some way that the loop needs to close here is another factor that I'm aware of from reading the rules. Now, there's one more rule. It says arrow. numbers on cells with arrows, let's pick that one. Oh, I don't want to have circles in the middle, refer to the total amount of loop cells seen in the indicated directions. The total amount, so it's the sum. Right, so this digit, well, the number, which might not be a digit, I suppose, in this cell is summing however many loop cells there are in that pattern. So that's probably that's probably the last clue in the puzzle. Anyway, they are all the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now let me just, I've said, okay, let's get cracking. I've just realised I haven't grokked the rules properly yet. Yeah. Okay. So, one thing I think we can say sort of ab initio here, which is perhaps worth saying, is that this is a strange puzzle. No, what I mean by that is that actually what I was about to say is wrong as well. I was going to say this feels like a country road puzzle. That's not true. But there is a restriction. If I go back to my 3 region and I move the loop into it, because of the requirement that the next cell on the loop is from a different modular set, you could never have 2 cells from the same. You could never have 2 consecutive cells on the loop from the same Fillomino region, because if you do that, you've clearly not got one of each type of modular remainder in these 3 cells, have you? You've got a repeat, which you can't have. Now, what I'm not sure about is whether that means you can re-enter. Because in theory, what you should have to do is every 3 cells, so this one would be from the 369, this one would be from 369. I'm not sure whether you can actually go back in. Maybe it depends on the shape of the 3 region. Maybe there might be some shapes that mean you can go back in. So from that perspective, it wouldn't be like a country road. I'm not sure. But what we need to do is to build the regions so that there is only every time the loop goes into a region, it sort of exits that region immediately. That's the way to think about it. So when we go into a region, we have to immediately get out again. We have to. Otherwise it won't work. Now, the other thought I had before we kick off is surely I can pick that cell, for example, that cell, that cell. These are all close to the edge. So they're the numbers that we can put into this. This is the most restricted by the looks of things anyway. That one, no. Well, actually that one is diagonal. That can only be up to 4. These could be mammoth because they're sort of going off in lots of different directions. Ah, that one's good. That one's only 1, 2, or 3. I can't. Well, I could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. I'm just wondering if I'm missing something. The other thought is whether sometimes these puzzles with arrows, it's about arrows that point at each other, because they have to sort of share cells in common. Maybe these 2. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to study these 2 probably. So let's think. If this is a 2, we are saying both of those, we're saying there's a corner of the loop, aren't we? That feels impossible. I'm not sure. It feels impossible at first blush. Let me think about that. So what we're saying is there are 2 loop cells. Well, we're saying this corner because there are 2 loop cells above the 2, the corner is definitely on the loop. So there is a corner of the loop here. Now, we know that these are from 3 different Fillomino regions, because that's what we've discovered from understanding the rules. So that is a 1 in the corner. It would have to be a 1, and these 2 squares would have to not be 1. Oh, hang on. The loop. Yeah, I've got it. It's fine. It's actually simpler. It's much simpler. The loop doesn't touch itself. Right. Okay, so the loop's doing this. That's very critical, because I was trying to work out how I could restrict this, but I can, because the loop can't do this and it can't do this, because these 2 squares are orthogonally connected, and that's not allowed. Yeah, that's what the rules are saying. Now I think this is dead broken, isn't it? I say that, maybe that's not true. I feel like it's true. I mean, no, it is broken. It's actually, this is quite cute actually, because what we're actually saying, remember, is that each one of these cells is in a different Fillomino region, and neither of these, it's very pretty, neither of these can be a 1. So each of these is in a Fillomino region that must extend downwards, because it can't go here, because that would imply these are the same in the same Fillomino region. And we know every cell along this loop, every consecutive cell, is in a different Fillomino region in order to meet the modular condition. So this will grow here, this will grow here, which implies this is the same region. And now those 2 squares, whatever their modularity is, it repeats too quickly on the line. You can't have a repeat. This one could repeat, but only there, not that early. So it's actually more complicated than I realised, but it's still broken, and that gives us a digit. That is a 1. So we'll have a colour for you. We will have a colour of purplish, and we will enclose you in a binding of black. And, well, okay, that made me look like, it made it look like I've broken the puzzle. Oh, now if I use red, that's going to look, I'm not going to be able to see the red, or maybe I'll go green. Yeah, I'll go green. Okay, so what this worried me about was I was like, oh, well, hang on, I can't put a digit in the corner now because this will be seeing 2 cells. That is certainly true. And then I was thinking, oh, but I can't bump into this, but I can bump into this. That's fine. So what we're saying is we can't go in the corner now, because that would cause 2 cells to be seen by this clue, this arrow clue. So we go, so this effectively is the cell seen, and that is a corner of the loop. Now, we know now from my shenanigans in the top right that this cell is not on the loop, because if it was, the loop would be orthogonally connecting to itself. So the loop goes there. And what does that mean? That, okay, I can see one thing that means. This, whatever this is, we know is in a different region to this. And neither of these is a 1. So let's give this a colour. Let's make that green. Oh, green is probably a terrible choice. Let's make it grey. Now this one we know is not of size 1, so it must grow there. I suppose that grey one is the same nature, isn't it, as that one? Yeah, this colour repeats every 3rd cell along the line, so that is also grey. Now, and then wherever this goes next, it goes into another of the purple variety of digits. So it doesn't have to go into a 1, but it does have to go into a 1, 4, 7, 11 type thing. 1, 4, is it 1, 4, 7, 11, 1, 4, 7, 10, isn't it? Sorry. I mean, this clue, I can see it can't go here, so it's either 1 again or 2. It can't be 3 now. But do we know what this is? I don't know. I can't. I'm not doing very well, am I, at understanding this? Oh, I see. Right. No, I don't see. I don't see, actually. Whatever this does, it either turns left. I mean, the loop. If the loop turns... Well, I'm thinking more about this region. I don't know what this cell is. It's a something. But it's not a 1. Now, if it goes down, then the loop would have to turn, wouldn't it? Because we can't repeat. The loop can't go into grey for its next square. It's going to have to, in fact, go into blue in one of these squares. So there's a blue here or a blue here. So these are sort of blue and grey, but I don't think I know the order. Or do I? It's something to do with this, I think. I think it is. I think it's to do with this clue. I've almost got it, but I haven't quite got it. If this is a 1, it is a different... Yeah, it can't be a 1. That's effectively what we're proving here. Because it must be either grey or blue. I'm just going to do this a different way, just to convince myself. If that's a 1, we know that grey continues here. We know that this will turn into the 1 to avoid going double grey, and that will cause 2 1s to appear too quickly on the loop. It's really clever. Wow. Wow. So that's a 2, and that tells us that this loop goes up there. And now we get more colouring done, because that's purple. This is... Oh, this is a 1 again, because it's penned in straight away, so that's a 2. And now blue is the colour of 258. So grey is the colour of 3 3s, because we forced the size of a blue pentomino. This is a 1. That's a blue again. Now that is a grey. This is a grey. Now grey is the 369 variety of digits. I'm going to put 369 in like that. And what's more, we can do some delineating, can't we? So let's do it. Now, what does that mean? I don't know yet. Well, we know this loop doesn't spend... Oh, it doesn't spend too long in... Actually, maybe I should... That black was very... I could see it very clearly. Maybe I should just... Let me just have a look at that. Is that okay? I quite like that, if that's all right. I can see it quite clearly, which I really like. Right, so we've gone into a 2, and the next digit is going to be a 147 digit from here. But we don't know, at least I don't think... Well, this digit now is not a 1, because it sees 2 on the loop. This has to grow again. This has to grow again. I mean, it's 258, isn't it? Or something higher than that. So if it goes up, then this is going to have to go like that. Oh, golly gosh, I don't know. If that's a 2, then this is not on the loop. That would be useful, because I know this isn't on the loop, apparently. Yeah, because the loop would touch itself. So if I did know this wasn't on the loop would move downwards. That would do a lot of work, actually. If that's a 3, then this is on the loop, which means I think we have to go in there with alacrity. We can't turn away because then the loop will touch itself. So if this is 3, then the loop's next cell is here, and it's a 1, 4, or a 7. Wow, though. Okay, so what is the next obvious step, if there is one? Okay, if this one goes here, doesn't that one also have to extend? And then the next move of the loop is either going to be to go into another blue, or, oh no, it's allowed to go, it's meant to go into grey. Sorry, for some reason I thought it had to go into the purple one. I think that maybe that one goes into the purple one. So okay, so that can go there and probably does. Oh, but hang on, no, the loop isn't allowed to touch itself. Aha! Sorry. Okay, goodness. There's a lot to keep track of here, and I'm doing a very poor job of it. Right, so that's got to go there. The loop goes there. Now, we know this must be where the blue extends. This must be, the grey is going to at least here. It depends whether this is 3 or not. Now, this one is grey, which is the 369 variety of digits. That cell might be getting interesting. Now, what does that mean? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do better at keeping track of where the loop cannot go. Yeah, so the loop can't go here, ever, because it would touch itself. So let's make that clear. I'm not sure. It might be this clue, although we've got this diagonal clue being a bit awkward, haven't we? So what is the number in this square? It definitely sees 3 to its east, and it sees 1 more on the diagonal, so it's at least a 4. So it's 4, 5, or 6, depending on which of these are taken. Although if it was 6, we'd be saying that those are both in. So the loop would be doing that. It would touch itself there. I think that would close the loop. So I don't think that can be a 6. Is that right? So if I'm saying both of those are in, that would be a corner. We couldn't then go away because then this would the loop would touch itself. So we do that. That's closing there and that's closing there by orthogonalness. And the loop has no... Yeah, I mean, this can't be a 0. So there is meant to be some loop over on this side. So this would be totally wrong if this was 6. So it's either 4 or 5 now, which is I see. That is different to this one, because either this is the purple or the blue. So this one must go here, and therefore the loop must persevere in this direction, because it cannot repeat in grey. And therefore that's going to tell us what this is, which is now purple. This is really clever. It's really clever. And purple is 4, not 5. So that's 4, which means that we've seen all of the cells. That's going to give us more x's. That's x'd. That's x'd. Now, oh, I tell you what that also does. Those are now 2's. We can delineate them. That can start to delineate this one. Oh, look, this is okay. This is going to be a 6, isn't it? And join up with itself. And that's going to partly answer, well, if that's correct, it's going to partly answer that question I was worried about when we were doing the sort of examples and trying to figure out how this works. I.e., could the loop revisit a region it's already visited once? Now, are there any other cells here that we can't go in? Does this obviously extends in one direction, and then there's going to be a blue digit in another direction. Yeah, okay. So I think that does matter, doesn't it? Why do I say that? In fact, if that's a 4, all of those would be in. That's not possible. Yeah, I think this might be the point. If this was a 4, i.e. if this purple region comes down to this square, then all of these are on the loop, but the loop is here. How it can't go to both of those squares once it's here, because that will cause the loop to branch or to touch itself orthogonally. So that is not able to be a 4, and if it's not able to be a 4, the 4 goes here, which turns the loop, because the loop must now go there. Now, what's the nature of this number? Is a blue number, so that's got to be a 2, which is a blue. Now there's, oh, okay. So now it's 2 along. It's either, it's got 4 choices and it has to go into 2 of them. But this one now has to grow, definitely. So it has now joined up with this one. But we don't know. I mean, it could be a 26 or something. It could be an absolutely enormous region. We can't tell that. And we do have to go next into a grey. So there is either a grey here or a grey here. Now obviously if it was a grey here, that could, well, it could be part of this bigger region. But if that's a 2, then the grey must be there, and that would extend the 4. What about that clue then? Let's just work that out. That at the moment sees 1. So this is 1, 2, or 3. I think both of those might be able to be on the loop. I'm not sure, but I can't see immediately why not. Some of these clues are frankly terrifying. There's so many arrows in some of these. I mean, this one, which is, I mean, it's in the locale of the area that we're sort of operating in. I mean, I just dispute whether this one can be the next step. Is much more likely to be, I don't know actually, I'm not sure. What do you think? It could be a clue I've just not seen as being constrained. Have we used up? This one's going to a purple, either here or here. Yeah, actually that's probably not a silly idea. So those 2 squares are purple and blue, because the blue must extend in one orthogonal direction, and whichever direction it goes in, the loop will turn in the other direction into a purple because of modularity. And that extent is useful. So that means that has to go down there, because that's at least a 3. It still doesn't tell us what this is, though. Although, or does it? If that's a 2, then I can see that this is 3 by Fillomino rules, but that's impossible. Oh, that's it. That is it. That's very clever, Math Pesto. The amount of different logic there's been in just this northeast corner is wicked, isn't it? So what I'm claiming is that if this is the blue 2 extension of this then cannot be 2 by Fillomino, so is 3. But that 3 is implying that this square is on the loop, which it cannot be, because this must turn away from this square. So in fact what we're saying is that this is the This is the purple. This is the blue. This is a 2. We can delineate. I am a fan of that, so I will do it. This one is now a 1 or bigger, depending. This one is definitely not a 1, is it? But the loop is going in there. So if that was bigger than 1... Oh, well, actually, we know this is 3. Because it is seeing 3 now. Oh, that's very odd then. But that's 3 is connected to... This can't be a 3. If that was a 3, it would be those 3 squares and connect to a different 3 region. So that's at least a 6 now. But it could be a 6 connecting here. Or that could be a 3, and that could be a 6. Or it could all be 9 or some astronomical number, which might be more likely, actually. I'd love to know if this extends here. But we do need... we are going to have to investigate this number, aren't we? I fear. Oh, hang on. What about that one? That's a 2 clue. I've got 1 of it now. This can't be on the loop, because the loop would hit itself. So it's either this one. It can't be that one. The loop will close. If this is on the loop, the loop's cornered at that square. And we have to, wherever there's the opportunity for an orthogonal connection, we must complete the orthogonal connection, because otherwise the loop is going to wander off and then come back to that point, and the loop will touch itself orthogonally. So this is definitely not on the loop, and now this 2 clue only can be fulfilled if that is on the loop, and if that is on the loop, it's a corner of the loop. Now, what does that mean, though, regarding everything? Well, it's going to give us a better count on this square. That I can see. I mean, if that's... I'm not sure, but that's still... I still feel that's worth it. So let's have a think. So... Southeast it sees 2, northeast it sees 2, so it's at 4 at the moment, 5, 6 to the north, and then it all depends on this diagonal, but it is at least a 6, so it's 6, 6, I mean 7, 8, 9, 10, I mean I don't think it can be 10, because I think that would imply a branching loop. So I think it's 7, 8, 9, it's something like that. But it's quite a big number. It's not, okay, it's not a 1. It's definitely, oh, but no, but if that's, sorry, I was thinking this was trapped, but it's not. If these are of the same modularity, I've put 1 and 4 in here, but this could be 7, it could be 10, it could be anything. We don't know. I think it's probably something to do with how many of those squares could actually be on the loop. Oh, maybe I've got to think about how that grows. The loop is here, isn't it? So the next move, so again, maybe it may, okay, this is what I have to do. I've got to get into this habit. I've got to go purple-grey here for the loop extension. It's not going to these squares, but its next colour it visits is grey. But the blue has to extend in one of the directions, so that does push the 4 out again. This square is no longer able to be on the loop, so we should mark that. This square is no longer able to be a 3. It's either 2 or 3, and it's not... Oh, this is beautiful. Oh. No, I've got it wrong, haven't I? I must have made an error. Because I was going to say I was going to say this can't be a 2, but that makes it a 3, and it can't be a 3. And this, why do I think it can't be a 1 in that square? Oh, so did I go, hang on. I took 1 out of this. Why did I do that? Yeah, that's okay. All right. I don't know what I said at that point, but I could clearly see that there was a restriction in terms of the number of loop squares that can go in there. And you can see I should have taken 3 out. That's certainly what I meant to think about. But the point is that because the 2 goes in one of those, this has to be a 1. Otherwise, Fillominoes are broken, and now this is off the loop. And if it's off the loop, the way the loop continues is to go that way, which tells us that this is the grey, this is the 2. We can delineate the regions. Let's do that, do that. This is a 1. 1 is purple. Let's purplify it. Now, oh, Bob, oh, well, that's really annoying. So, well, okay, no, this is, no, it's fine. That's at least a 3, because it's one of those funny grey ones, which must extend, which turns the loop, and it can't turn here without touching itself. So it goes into the 1, and now its next move is into a blue, which is not this one. So it goes into a blue in one of those, but we can't do my shading trick because this doesn't have to extend. So this is 3, 6, 9. The 4 continues into the top of the grid. I think this is exceptionally good, this puzzle. Oh, this is good. Right, that's a 6, because it can't be anything else now. There's only 6 of available space. So that's another region ticked off. Now, there was something else that was intriguing me about... Yeah, it must be this clue. I must have a much better count on this clue now. Let's go back to this one then. So I've got 2 there, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's out. Otherwise the loop will hit itself. So this one needs to be taken out of commission. But what I'm not sure about is this one. So this is either 7 or 8, I think. That's going to be the question. If it is, see, if it's 7, and these 2 bump into each other, I suppose there's no problem. If that's 1, that can be 7. It doesn't break Fillomino. I can have colours the same in adjacent cells, providing they're not exactly the same number. So if that's 8, this is on the loop. Is that fine or not? I just don't know. Do we know? I know that's... Oh, I tell you what I do know. That's a 3. Because both of these can't be in this one's region. Because the loop is turning here. So that's another little deduction that we've earned ourselves. Now, so the loop, what I'm thinking is that this cell is going to somehow go round the grid, and it's going to connect here, isn't it? Because otherwise, if it goes round there, this is a stranded loop end. The loop doesn't go cut itself off here. Similarly, this one will connect to the outside of the loop. So we ought to be able to tell the colours of these 2 is what I'm thinking. So if the loop is sort of travelling in a clockwise direction, we know that just before, we know that this should be purple and this should be blue, I think. Yeah, because looking at this, the way it's travelling, it goes through grey into blue. So given we're going to be travelling this way, however this goes, it's going to eventually end up like that. And we're going to go through grey into blue, which makes this one from the 147 family, this one from the 258 family. And then the loop can't touch itself here, so we can X this in. Now, so now we've got the loop is actually, look at that, it's going through a little passageway there. And that means, oh, I was going to say that means this is a 1. I don't think it does mean that, but it does mean that this one has to be blue. Now, blue is 2, 5. Oh, see, that could be the same as this one then. If that's 8, it could join up here. Okay, but the loop also has to go here. That's the corollary of all that. Now that has to be purple again. So that's 147. This has to get out. So that's got to be blue. That has penned in this. This did turn out to be a 1. And therefore what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I really want to know if that's on the loop. That is going to be the big game in town, isn't it? That is the big game in town. Is this square on the loop? Ah, no. Here is a different way of it's obvious actually, I just didn't think of it. The loop is currently here. Its next cell needs to be in a 369 colour. That is not capable of being that colour. So it does go in there. And in going in there, it corrects the count of this one, I think, which we have now. I think it's completely countable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is completely countable. So 8 is a blue number, which might connect here then. So that's another 1. So that gets ring fenced. Yeah, we can do our trick. So the loop is here. It's either going here or here next. So one of those is a grey 3 extension. The other is the next colour on the loop, which is blue. Oh, that's annoying. So that didn't... I don't think that does anything for us, does it? What it does do is allows us to say this is never on the loop. The loop's going to get awfully close to itself here. If the loop, if the loop continues in this direction, it's getting really hard for me to see, but these have got very close together there. They'd have to immediately branch away from one another, otherwise we'd have 2 loops in the grid. So that would be blue. This would be... This would be blue. This blue would go there. This would be purple. This 3 would come down. Oh, it's getting frightfully complicated. I mean, it would be very forcing if that was. So maybe we look at the other version. If it goes the other way, with this being 3, then I think that looks easier, because then this has to turn down into probably an 8 actually, but certainly a blue. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we resolve that. So instead, I think probably what we've got to do, there must be another clue to look at. which is slightly terrifying. Okay, that's not on the loop, because it would touch itself. Wow, I mean, there are so many clues here that it's very hard to know. It's really hard to know which ones to look at. This one has to go into a grey. Oh, no, we can't do the trick because we don't know whether this is a 1 or not. There's no loop segments there, so that's a maximum of 3. That's a maximum of 2. So that's a maximum of 5. I might as well record it. I'm getting desperate. Right, that sees. Oh, I see. We don't have a clue how many of those are on. That can't be the next clue, surely. It's more likely. No, it's not likely to be that one either. This one's horrible. 1, 2, 3. Some number from below. 4. I mean, it's at least 4. But possibly as much as 7 or 8 or something like that. I'm not sure. Okay, so there must be some way that I'm meant... I think my feeling is that this is where the pressure is. But that's not the same as it being a useful deduction. Do we... I know that has to extend. My gut, okay, I'm going to go with my gut reaction here. My gut reaction is that the 3 here is going to be more problematic because this is forcing this pattern. And you can see we're getting very close to closing the loop here, which is going to force this and force this. Now, I don't know why this is broken, if indeed it is, but I feel like there might be a reason this is broken. Let's correct the colours just so that we can look at it really closely. This square here is now definitely purple. This square here is definitely blue. I mean, it couldn't be, could it? The sort of modulo of this. This square here is definitely this one extending. That can't be on the loop. So we're going from here into a blue, but it could be anywhere. This has to extend down here, so those might connect with one another. But this, we do want to get close to that, don't we? It can't go in there. But it could go there. That would seem... I mean, it almost actually seems correct. Now I trace it through. It seems it would put quite a nice amount of pressure on the loop. And okay, so if my instinct is wrong then, and actually the 3 goes here, why does that fail? Then this would become blue, this would become the 3. This is how the loop moves. It looks like it's part of the 8. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's what it looks like. Ah. Is this bigger than 3? That would do it. Oh, that's really interesting. Because what I'm thinking is, let's imagine that was 4 or something. Then that 3 is turning up here. This is either part of the 8. Ah. Well, I'm not sure. I was wondering how you make that purple. Maybe you can do it. I'm quite interested in that, though. Whether this... It would have to go blue. This would all be 8s. But no, that wouldn't work because we'd close the loop and the loop would be two colours close to each other. Oh, this is complicated. But I'm now convinced that if I can prove this is not exactly equal to 3, then we might be in business. So how do I do that? I can see it's got 1 in this direction, which is not many. I mean, it's got to cut that boundary. I'm going to go further than that, actually. It's got to cut that boundary twice. Because in this paradigm, these two squares have not connected yet and yet need to. And the way that they're going to connect has to happen by cutting this boundary. And then this still has to get out. So we're definitely on a count of 3. And all I have to prove now is that there is a necessary loop segment in one of these positions. And in this example, would that be true? So what I'm saying is, yeah, that's really clever. Oh my goodness me. Right, this is really complicated, but it's brilliant. It's quite brilliant. Okay. So the only way that this is, and firstly I need to show you why it's broken if this 3 turns down. That's the first necessity, okay? So if the 3 turns down here, the reason we have a problem is that the next colour that the loop visits from this square is purple. Well, how does it do that? It can only do it there. So that's going to be the next cell, but you can see that's closing this up. So the loop would go here, now it's orthogonally adjacent to itself, so it must close. But it's gone blue, purple, blue. That is not a modular loop. So it cannot do that. Now, so in this situation, the way that this doesn't become a 3 and cause that problem is that this is a 3. But if this is a 3, watch. Where does this go now? Well, it can't go grey, purple, grey, so it has to turn, increasing the count of this because that's on this diagonal here. So that it's got 1, it's got 2, and it's going to get something from down here now. Because, oh no, is it going to get 2 from down here now? Oh, that's a good question. I need to think about that. Because now the loop's going to go here. I think it's the same logic as before. So what I'm saying is, how many times is that line cut by the loop? Because if it's 2, the puzzle's broken. And it is, isn't it? Because this has to connect to this. And however it does it is cutting this line, and then this has to get out, and that cuts the line as well. So this is wrong. And that was very, very, very interesting. Now, what does that mean for our next idea? So we go right back here, and we now know that the 3 actually goes there. I can't remember if I thought that was that. Well, it clearly is going to do something, but so this is now at least a 5 because it can't be a 2. Well, that's probably going to do something. That's the next visit of the loop, so the loop goes here. Yeah, yes, this does cause the problem because now these two have got very close together. These two loop ends, they cannot orthogonally touch or the loop will end. So that goes there, that goes there. That gives us more colouring to do. So the colour of this one is blue. The colour of this one is purple. That forces this to go in here. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? See what, because we know that's at least a 5 now. This 3, that is a 3 because it's counting that, so that's okay. So that goes there, turns grey, gets delineated. This 8 thing is is definitely 8. I was wondering whether it was 8 or higher, but it actually, so it goes down here. This is 147. It's probably that clue, but let's just pause for a moment. So this needs to go into grey next. Oh, this could be the 1 again. This one goes into grey next. So its 2 options are there and there. So 1 is blue, 1 is grey. No, that is right. That is right, because it can't go into that one for some reason that hopefully was correct whenever I deduced it. And we do, right, we can do a little bit more jiggery-pokery there. Yeah, this is good. Look at the 8 now. It now needs to go into grey immediately, and so it goes there. So these two are getting very close to each other. Is the polarity? The polarity is correct. Oh no, no, no! It's, oh my goodness me, that's weird. No, it's not correct. Oh goodness. That's truly peculiar. Right, what I'm seeing there is, I assumed, I was looking at the loop. I was looking there and saying, oh, well that would be blue. And then because the loop, if the loop goes to this square, it has to close because it's orthogonally next to each other. I was thinking, well that's lovely, that's blue, because it would go purple, blue, grey, and that all looks fine within that 3-cell string. But that's wrong, because if that's blue, it's 2 cells away from another blue, and 2 cells away from another blue there. So that's totally not right. So this does not close. It has to turn away again. Right. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly what that's doing, but that's certainly doing some magical things, isn't it? Because now this has to be purple, which is 1, 4, or 7. This has to be grey, so that's 3, 6, or 9. This one has to extend there, so that one is now blue. This is off limits, so the loop would touch itself. So this is 5 or 8. Let's try and remember that it can't be 2 because of that one. That could be 2 though. Oh, no, no, no. The loop is here. It's in blue. It can't go into another blue, so it must go into grey. So that's 3, 6, or 9. And that is where it next goes. And now it needs to go into purple again. Ah, but this square is definitely grey, because that is at least a 3. So its next move... No, we don't know... Well, no, we don't know it grows from here. Could grow there, this grey region, so I can't do the trick. That though, is part of this region, because it can't be a 2 anymore. Therefore, actually, what is there an arrow on the... There is an arrow on the right side of this. Yeah, so I can get a count on this square. Alright, it sees 1 vertical. It's 3. That's all it can be. So that's 3, which is grey, which is probably joining to this. But that's turning the loop. The loop can't go from here to here. It repeats its modulus. So that therefore is blue, which is 2, 5, 8. This one we don't know if it grows. We know this is now off the loop. I like the fact that I can rule some cells out from being on the loop. That feels like it's definitely when the good guys are winning. Now, there's probably any number of these silly arrow clues that I could do now if I knew to focus on them. I see that's out of bounds. We've got to go into a blue from this one. But can I get a count now, for example, on this square maybe? Or these are the same, aren't they? So that is part of a 3 region. I wonder if that can... Don't know. Okay, so let's think. I'd love to know if that grew, because if that grows, at least I could colour this one. I'll tell you what else is clever. If I was constructing this puzzle, it must be easier to think of it in terms of 1s, 2s and 3s, but actually each colour has at least one higher digit in it, doesn't it? Than the bare minimum. Okay, let's try this one. So we're looking north at 1, 2, 3, and we're looking 4, 5, 6. It's between 6 and 8. Oh, it's going to be 8, isn't it? I mean, I don't know that, but the fact it's a connectable to a big 8 region makes me think that will put both of those on the loop. I presume there's no problem with that. Although that is not on the loop, because the loop would go into... It would go north into its own colour. Oh, look at that. That's at least 5. Well, I can grow it then. Now, that's great. That's absolutely great, because the loop can't go into blue again, but it's meant to go into purple. The only place it can get a purple is there. So it goes there. That's 1, 4 or 7 or more. This region is not modulo 0 modulo 3, is it? So we have to extend it. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely extendable, and that we don't go north now, because that's going to be the wrong way. We have to go into, we're probably going into this blue. But I'll tell you what I can do. I can rule that out from being on the loop. I can rule that out from being on the loop, which rules that out from being on the loop. So, okay, where was this pointing? Okay, this can't be 8 anymore, I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only, it can only get to, well, that's good. It can only get to 7, so it's not part of this, so this turns. Now this must be part of that region, because it can't be a 2 on its own. The 8 must continue down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It must continue down. 7. This is going to be good, isn't it? So now we get a load more things learned. I don't know what that size is. I do know that the 8 is not equal to 6 or 7. It's not equal to 1, 4 or 7. Yeah, but now the loop has to go down to here because it needs a grey next. So this is a 1. This is a grey. Grey we know is at least 3, so it has to take another cell downwards. Then it can't go here, so it must turn back into the 8 region. Now that's correct polarity. It then doesn't go up. And now it's now looking for a purple. Well, okay. Okay, so now we're going to use the trick, because the 8 can only grow there or there. So one of these, 2, 3, 4, 5, one of these is the final 8 and is blue. The other is the purple that we're required to move the loop into. So these are and that forces the grey to extend. That's 3, 6 or 9. Let's delineate again. So the question is this, can that be 8? And that is looking at, well, let's be sure about what we can go into as well. Let's make sure that can't be on the loop. That's certainly true. Can we go into this square? No, actually, actually you can't go into this square. Definitely, this one here is the one I'm looking at, because look, there is a loop. There's sort of a second loop forming in the bottom right, and if that was on that second loop, that's a corner of the loop, and the loop would close. So that's wrong. So this is off the loop. But we don't know what's going on down here. And that one still has the possibility of going into that square if that's a corner. Okay. Right, but we do know, we know the values of this are not the 369 values, so let's actually compute it. It's got 1 there, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. So it's on 4. It can't be 6, so it's 4, 5, or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. So 4 would be okay, wouldn't it? That would be where it went next. And then it couldn't visit the bottom of the grid underneath it. 5 and 7 are okay as well. Maybe these are both 7. 7 is a higher number, which puts this on the loop. We know this is not on the loop, don't we? Gosh, I'm not sure then. Okay. Oh, what about that one? That's not 1 anymore. That's 2 or 3. That sort of feels like it's important, doesn't it? This one is 258. It needs to go into a purple, which is not there. So purple is in one of those. We can't do the trick though, because we don't know whether the blue could go there and trap in a 1. So maybe I'm meant to look at that one then. I refuse to look at these. I mean, these are so. I mean, no, it can't be those. It just can't be. Well, the other thing I have noticed about the puzzle is it's been incredibly not reasonable, but fair. You know, it hasn't sort of required enormous, mental leaps that I would view as completely unreasonable. It's been totally and utterly fair. It's just, it does require quite some calculation on occasion. That's totally reasonable. So, okay, but hang on. Why couldn't that be 8? It just couldn't get to a count of 8. That's the point then. So that's got to be the way the 8 finishes. So this is therefore purple. And if it's purple, it's not 5. Well, it's still good. It's still good. We can delineate the 8 totally. We know that the loop goes in here. And then we know the loop's going to a 3. Oh, I see, it could be going north. Oh, no, it doesn't. It's not allowed to go north because that's off the loop. But we know it's going to a 369 digit next. We've also got that sort of parity point about the loop, making sure that it closes in the right way, haven't we? When it joins this one to this one, it's got sort of the polarity of it's got to be right. I wonder if that can be 3 now. 1? Depends how many are up there, doesn't it? That's quite a long. I mean, that could be anything. I don't know. Sorry, I realise I've stopped talking. This is the point of this. How long have I had? An hour and 15. I've done less than half of it as well. That's slightly worrying, isn't it? Okay, let's try and concentrate. What I'd love to know if that is a corner of the loop. Is there some... Oh, that's actually, that's a little bit interesting. If that's a corner of the loop, because the loop's not allowed to touch itself, the loop would do exactly that. That must be impossible. Would that cause a 1 in the corner? I think it would. Yeah, you can... In fact, is it just... Is it a general point in this puzzle that you can't... The loop can't go in a corner? Because I'm not sure that my logic up there... Let's just think about that. Was dependent upon this square, whatever it was, when I realised it was broken. If it actually goes in a real corner where the loop has to extend 2 on each side in order to not touch itself here, this square is at least a 2, this square is at least a 2, but they therefore share this Fillomino region. But yeah, that's impossible. Ah, got it. Right. So this is off the loop. And if that's off the... Well, if that's off the loop, this is off the loop, this is off the loop. Everything up here is off the loop because the loop can't touch itself in a turn. Now, but the key is that now we've got to come back here. I think this is determined. I think it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it can't get any more. So that is 6. Now 6 is grey. So that's grey because it's got to grow. Oh, we don't know. We know this is going into grey, which is probably this grey, but I don't know that again. Though we do know that this, the next one for this is though blue, isn't it? It's definitely not. It's definitely not grey because it would be seeing grey too quickly. So that's blue. Oh, hang on. This can't. This is too close to each other again. This is great. This is forced. There's no way they can connect to this quickly. The modularity would be totally wrong. So now we can colour in loads more stuff again. So this has got to be purple. That is right, isn't it? That's important to make sure because that 3 now has to grow. That finishes the 3 region. This is forced to be a 1 region here because if it was 4 it couldn't get out. So that's 1. This now must be part of these regions, or one of them at least. It's definitely blue. I'm not sure I can say more than that. Okay, but then the next... so we're going into grey from here. And from here, we've gone... This is grey. Probably part of the 6, but I'm not certain. This is a 1 now, apparently. Let's put that in. And delineate. Let's delineate that. So now, let's try and take stock again. What's going on now? So we're here looking for a blue, which could be that blue if that grows. This hasn't grown. This isn't big enough yet. That's not mod 0, mod 3. It's only size 5 at the moment. And we know that's 4 or 7. And at the moment, 1, 2, 3, it's 4. So if it was 7, how would that work? Wouldn't it just have to go straight down the grid? Can it really do that? Because, yeah, I don't know is the answer. But it strikes me as crazy unlikely that that is a possible string. That would make that into a 3. I have difficulty with this because, oh no, I suppose it could escape this way. This doesn't have to be a 1 in this example, does it? Let's just think about how the loop would move then. This would be grey, so that would be grey. This would be blue, this would be purple. So that blue would extend this way, would have to be a 2. Yeah, and it's wrong. It doesn't work. The modularity is wrong. So this is disprovable, but it's complicated again. That's what I call a slight look ahead, but in what I will say is a fair way, because there is no, this is a binary clue. It's either 4 or 7, and to be 7 you have to put all 3 of these in, and what you can't do is have a horizontal string going through here, because then when the other one is in, it will touch the loop. So it has to be a vertical horizontal string. We know the colour of each segment, and then we're getting the wrong count in this corner. We've got 3 here at the moment. We could make this 6, that would be fine. But then this would need to grow into a 3. That can't grow into a 3 because it's a 2, 5 or 8 clue. This could be a 1, but that... And if that's a 4, again that breaks this. If this is a 1, we've got to fill... you can see, whatever you do, the count is incorrect. So in fact, this is a 4. And, well, the corollary of that is that the loop never goes into any of these squares. All of these are out of bounds, which means all of these are out of bounds. And the loop, so the loop is in a tunnel. The loop has to go there. Oh no, into a grey, which is going to be part of this one, isn't it? Let's get rid of that 3. That's no longer valid. In fact, it's expressly not valid. It is a 2 because this is not on the loop. So that's blue. This is 3, 6 or 9, almost certainly 6, but let's do a count of it. Yeah, we should do a count of it because we've got most of its count determined. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not 3. 5. Well, it can't be 9. It can't be. There's not enough space down here. So it is 6. Well, which is what we thought it would be. I still think that might be more interesting, actually. I'm going to think about that more. Because... I think it might have... The loop might have to go to here now. It's certainly... Oh, hang on. No. It's much easier than that. The loop is getting awfully close to itself again. And the loop must not touch itself yet. So it does go down, which is what I thought was going to happen, because of the 6th clue. I think the 6th clue is now fulfilled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So this is as far as it goes. So it then turns, doesn't go into the 2, even if that would be the right modularity, because it would break the 6th clue. So now we can go back here. We can rule these out from being on the loop. We can get rid of that one. Otherwise the loop's touching itself. And most importantly, of course, we can colour these. So that is, that's probably 2. That's purple, which is 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. The loop has gone here, which is also purple, 1, 4, 7. This is a 2. Okay, that looks like it's just looking this way at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not 8. Oh, okay. Is this logic valid? There are 3 cells there, but the overall size of this blue region must surely be a 258 number. It must have a remainder of 2 when divided by 3. So we've got to grow it at least 5. It's got to be at least 5. Because you can't put 2 2s next to one another. Now, the problem is with purples. The purples can be 1, so we don't have to grow them at all. Okay, but now I can see that's off the loop. Okay. I don't know what that means. Well, actually, why don't we use this 6? Because that's become a 6. In fact, that 6 only completes in one way. Good grief. So therefore we can... delineate the whole of this 6. Oh, that's a 4. That's the thing, I've got so used to when I see purple numbers, just not doing anything with them because they're always 1s, but that one isn't. Yeah, if that is a 2, then the number above it must be a 2 because it's running straight into it. So that's forced. I don't know where the 4 goes. But surely the big game in town is that we've got a 6 here now. But, okay, it's looking at 1 below it. 2, 3, 4, 5. It can only... Well, yeah. Okay, this is important because the loop is here and it has to connect with itself up there somewhere. So it has to cross this row somewhere. I don't know where, but in crossing here, it will consume the only other... So it's crossing this boundary once, is what we're saying. But it could be that square. Although, no, if it's that square. Yeah, it doesn't go down there. Because if it does go down there, it's only allowed to take 1 cell in this row. Otherwise the 6 will break. So it goes straight down and it will connect here. And that will close this bottom loop. So that square is off the path, which forces the loop to go that way. Oh, okay, well, I could have seen that a different way, but I saw it that way. Ah, that's forced this to be. Right, that's done many things. Firstly, this is now blue by loop modularity. Secondly, that is now 1 because it's penned in. Thirdly, I don't really know how to say this, but there is a crossing that does this. Oh yeah, I know how to do that. I know how we can do that. We could do this. That's quite a sensible idea. So wherever this crosses... Oh, and this never crosses downwards. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, because, look, there's a loop end here and a loop end here. Now, those are kept apart because there's a little... They are part of a little loop that's sort of in the southeast of the grid. So this can never use up this one's opportunity to get north. This one cuts the boundary. This one stays north of this sort of Maginot line across here. So that cannot go down. And it cannot go up, because to go up would be to repeat blue. So this one goes here, which is therefore into grey, which is 3, 6 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is still the wrong modulus. So that's still got to grow. This... I don't know, but I do know the loop goes into it. And the next move it makes is into purple. But again, it can't go down. It can't go down. And it can't go up into blue again. So it goes on again into purple. Oh, this is really class. This is a class puzzle. Right, that's now penned in. So it goes down into grey. Do we know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still the wrong count, but it could come down or go there, there, or there. We don't know. But do we know what this does? Yeah, we know this is this one's next move is into grey, which can now only be there. So that's 3, 6, or 9. Let's move the loop. The next move is now into blue, which looks like it could be downwards, doesn't it? In fact, this square is not a 3, look. So it grows, because otherwise the Fillomino regions are touching. So that forces this to go down. So it goes down, and the next move it needs is into purple. So it must turn that way and get a purple from here. But this is 1, 4, 7. It's probably connected to that, but we don't know. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's not a valid blue total, so we've got to extend it down here. Now it is a valid one, if this is 8. But it... Oh. Hang on. What's gone on there? Hang on, my loop... I've done something wrong. My loop's touched itself. Sorry. Oh, I see what I got wrong. I think it's salvageable. Oh, maybe it's not. Actually, hang on. Hang on. Maybe it's not. Oh dear. No, something's gone awry, hasn't it? Because this could be 7. If it's a 2 and a 5, maybe that's what I've missed. I didn't. For some reason, I thought this had to be 8. Well, let's go back. I'm uncomfortable with something has because I've got my loop touching itself, and that's just unforgivable. Can't do that. So let's just go all the way back here. Am I comfortable with the logic that this doesn't go down? Yes, that is definitely right. So therefore, we have to move. Now, why have I got this? I've got this as blue because I need a blue and I can't go there. So that's fair. The value of blue at the moment is 6. That's also fair. This is 369. That seems correct. And then I extended this blue into this square. Why did I do that? Because why couldn't the blue have gone there? I'm not sure about that. It's probably right, but I can't remember why I did it. And that's not a good reason to do anything. So let's stop. Let's go back there and let's try and think this through again. I think I better think it out again. I'm reviewing the situation. The station. But it's wrong to be a rogue in every way. Right, okay, so this must go into grey. And I don't see how it can possibly get a grey from anywhere but there. There, I'm going to say that. So that is 3, 6. Am I going to run into exactly the same problem here, aren't I? These can't. The loop cannot go downwards now. It's impossible because the loop's going to see 2 greys too quickly. So the loop goes on into a blue here. Can't go up now, can't go down because we know that this is the point of the crossing. So it must go there. This is going to be the same problem, is it? It must go there into a purple. So the loop is in this position. Now if that... No, that doesn't work either. I'm trying to work out how this works, and I'm doing an absolutely abject performance. But what I can see is that we know this doesn't go down. I can see it doesn't go up, because in this stretch of 3 there would need to be a grey in the middle, and the grey would be only 2 away from itself. So I think we have to continue. At least this one. I'm not sure about this one. This continues to here. But now, this is actually very beautiful, because the only way... This is now blue by count. But now... This, when it makes its way up the grid, cannot touch this. Never orthogonally, so it can't come up that, so it comes up there. I don't know what its colouring will be at that juncture, but this now must turn up into what? Into a grey, which is 3, 6 or 9. This is 2, 5 or 8. Now... You can't keep these apart. These have to close now. The reason for that is a bit complicated, but you can see that this one's hustling up the left side of the grid. It's going up here. Now, this one doesn't ever touch this one, because that would close the loop. And there's another loop up here we've got to introduce into this somehow. If you try and keep these apart for any longer, this would go up here. Where would this go? It would bump into itself or bump into the loop. So the only way it closes is like that. And that is now working. So I don't know what I did wrong before, but that now the polarity seems to be absolutely appropriate. And this still has to stay away. So it goes up there, this closes. So now you can see there's sort of a right side of the loop. I can't really see it very well, but I am conscious it's there. And I suspect it was this shading that I did in that square that made me not understand the world. But goodness, okay, well this has to grow downwards now apparently. So that's become grey, which I don't think I had it as before. It's counting stuff in loads of directions as well, which we'll have to try and work out what that means. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It cannot be 6. That is just not a way we can split up these digits, 2s, 5s and 8s. So that does come down there, which is where it might stop, because 7 you could do with 2 and 5. So all that's left to do now is to work out, we know this is connecting to that somehow, this is connecting to that somehow. And there could be a few clues hidden in the mist here, hidden in the thingies, which we're going to have to work out how to deal with. You know, like there could be arrows that I've lost track of. I mean, what's that number? What's that number? Are these things that we're going to have to work on? Possibly. Okay, let's try this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to the northeast. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're on a count of 10 already. And there's got to be at least 11 to get this one across. There's at least 11. And there's got to be another one to get to cross that. So it's at least a 12. It's probably a 12. But it's a 12 or a 15 or something, this number. It's at least 12, which means that's at least 12. This is... no, that doesn't necessarily have to if it escapes that way. So that is a 12 is what I'm trying to indicate there. Maybe I'll do it like that, just to really... it's at least that as well. It could be a 15, it could be an 18. It probably couldn't be 18 because I've run into too many things. But it's 12 if we do it very sparsely, i.e. cut this diagonal once more to connect these up and connect this to here with alacrity, rather than, say, doing that. Okay, so maybe we do have to look at this one then. This one sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good grief. 12. It sees 12. It's going to see at least 14. Now, let's just put 14 in there so we can remember it. Now, 14, is 14 the correct modulus? Divide it by 3, you get a remainder 2. So 14 would be correct. If it's not 14, it's 17. And 17, so 14 was requiring us to take one cell here and one cell here. 17 would be requiring us to take all of those squares, which is going to branch the loop. So we don't. This is a 14. And it only cuts here once. And it only cuts here once. So it goes straight across underneath here, the loop. Right, but I don't... Oh, it's the 6, is it, that's going to tell me? Did the 6, is that quorate with this? Might be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the 6 is done. So we don't go down here, we go across. That takes care of the diagonal here, so we're not allowed... Oh, we could rinky-dink down. No, we could rinky-dink down. Because rinky-dinking down would be okay, because it doesn't increase the count of this, providing we then go straight across. So we're in this square. This square is a 369 digit. We don't know if that increases. So we've got to work out if we go there, we're going into blue, aren't we? Which would feel correct. If we go down, we're going into blue, and then we're going into purple. Because there's going to be a 3-cell stripe in one of these directions. So that's... I don't know what to do with that, to be honest. Let's do some delineation of things that make me feel like I'm making progress when I'm not doing anything. Oh, I've just discovered a 1 there. Let's put that in. Now, we might be about to get interrupted, actually. I hope not. It is rather a longer video than I was anticipating. Okay. Is it... I don't really know where to look, if I'm honest. We don't know the count of this. We know we need a blue for this one next. There were clues. I like this clue is looking diagonally. Ah, that might be it. 1. It cuts there twice. Yeah, okay. That is important. Yes, so what we need to do is to think about this diagonal. Because we have to take 2 of these squares exactly, and we know we're not taking the corner. Now we can't take both of these without the loop branching, so this square is on the loop. And if that square's on the loop, that must be part of a wide turn, mustn't it? Because there's no other way to get to it, to get in and out of it. So there is a wide turn of the loop at the top of the grid that does that, and that closes the loop there. It doesn't quite... Oh, it does close it because it's reached... So that's we've closed the loop. But somehow, this is really weird. Really weird. I wouldn't have thought this is possible, because these have to alternate colours all the way down here. Now, how does that work? So we know that's blue. That's grey. At least that feels right, doesn't it? So that's purple. This is blue again. In fact, why don't we do it a little bit more sensibly? We'll do it this way. So you've always got purple just before blue. You've always got grey just after blue. So it's got to be that. That grey's got to grow. That grey's at least 3, so that pens in a 1. That blue's got to grow. That grey's got to grow twice because it's at least 3 again, so that pens in a 1. That's got to be blue. That's got to be blue. That's got to be, it could be a, oh no, it can't be a 4. That can't be a 4 because it would hit itself. So that's a 1. When I say hit itself, it would hit another region of exactly the same size. Right, this is now blue, to be at least 2. That could be a 1 again. There seem to be a lot of things, a lot of opportunities for things to be 1s. This little region here is wrong. It's got to keep growing, doesn't it? Because it's got to be 0 mod 3 eventually. So now we've got a grey... Oh, this is... But that... Yeah, we knew this was at least 12, didn't we? So now... But don't we have a complete count on this now? Ah, I can't remember. I bet you we do. Because there's not much latitude left in this, you know. Let's get rid of the red line here. Let's take a stare and see if we can work out what's going on. This has got to grow. Now this is a 1 because it can't be a 4. So something's going on at the bottom here, look. Can this... I wonder if this can be just an enormous blue region. That's got to be a 1 again. There's loads of purple 1s suddenly. Well, okay, this definitely has to be blue, doesn't it? Because it can't be any other colour. It can't be a 1. And the same is true here. So there is a ginormous blue region that has to somehow be delineated into... Oh no, it's going to depend on this. This is countable. I hadn't seen this clue. Right, so this clue is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is just 5. That's not what I was expecting. Well, I suppose it's good in a way. But that suggests there's going to be one way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does that mean this is 8? If it wasn't 8, how would you divide it up into regions of mod 2? It couldn't be done. If you put 2 in, you've got 6 left over. That won't work. So it is 2 and 8. That suggests we're on the right line, actually. The lines. The fact that that actually worked is really remarkable. 2, 5, 8. Look at this grid. It's one of the most complicated. It just looks so complicated. What's this number? That's saying 2 there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got to cross this boundary. This is at least an 8. Oh, but it can't be an 8. Because to be 8, it would be blue, and there's not enough space. In fact, all it can do is join to grey, because it's at least an... Yeah, okay, so 1, 2, 3... So this is a 9. This is a 9, it's grey. And that's going to convert all of these into 9s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Oh, all of them into 9s. That's the only way of filling the space. That's 2 in the corner. That just about works as well. Okay, so we're in this world now. Okay, and therefore, all we've got to do, now that 9 was what, 7 in this column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so there's 2 here somewhere. In crossing this boundary, connecting this up, it takes 2 in this column. Ah, but then that... Yeah, so this one sees 7 in the... Oh, no, it doesn't, because it might see itself. Yeah, if this clue was seeing that square, this one wouldn't see it in its column, would it? So I have to be a bit careful there. It's definitely seeing that one. Goodness me, so we're very much not done yet. We've still got to figure out how this all works. We worked out this was at least 12, didn't we? Do we now know it's exactly 12 or not? Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It can't be all of those, or the loop's touching itself, so it is just one, exactly one of these squares. And that means that when we do cross this Rubicon here and go through there, which we're going straight through, we're also going straight again. So there's like a continuous, it's doing something like that. And then it's arriving in this column, and I don't know what it's doing in this column. Something must tell me, but I don't know what it is. Oh, what about that clue now? That's a 2. That's actually, we've got a complete count on that. So this can't be a 2. So that's at least a 5. Oh, but that could join to the enormous number. Ah, but if the 2 goes there, it doesn't work. So that's 2, and this does join to the enormous number. So that number is the 14 number. I can't remember if the 14 number... Yeah, the 14 number was correct, wasn't it? Because we got to the 14 number by doing the straight line across here, because we couldn't get to the 17 number. So these are all 14 numbers. I should, someone was suggesting we should use hexadecimal. I might do that because that would be easier for me. So what's hexadecimal for 14? So A is 10, B is 11, C is 12. It's E, is it? So I'm going to fill all these in with E in order to remind me of what's going on. And these are 12. Well, at least those two are 12. So that one is also 12, isn't it? So, and 12 is going to be C. So these are all C. And C, even if it took those, is still coming out further. And so is E. I hadn't noticed this. This might be important. So C is definitely coming out further. E is coming out further. But we do want a blue for the next visit of this, don't we? And this is, this doesn't join to this. So this goes down, and that forces this through the Rubicon. So it goes all the way through there, and that's therefore purple. But C is nowhere near complete. So C has to turn there. And now we're looking for a grey digit next. So this is the grey digit. It's probably C. I won't put it as C, but it probably is C. E is nowhere near big enough again, so E's got to be bigger. This is 14, wasn't it? And C was 12, and at the moment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're only up to 10 maximum. Oh, this has got sheltered in. That's got to be a 1. So let's put that in. And we know, yeah, I see. So this is now off the loop, and we have to take, no, we do have to take 2 of these squares to make the 9 clue work. So this is certainly on the loop. It's probably something to do with this digit. But I'm still not sure that we're quite in a position to know what to do with that. Which clue is it that I haven't used? It could be hidden under the nonsense, couldn't it? It could well be hidden under the nonsense. Let's think. If we go there. So the next step for this is a blue digit. But we don't know in which direction, we don't know in which direction that is, at least I don't think we do. Oh, we can colour this digit. Sorry, I didn't see to do that. That's got to be purple. This grey has to get out. Oh, this is just going to connect with C, isn't it? That's what's... Although, no, that may be wrong. This can't be this region here. That's got to grow. So this has got to grow. This is still not the right size, so that's got to grow. We know that this still has to grow, so that does become C, and it must grow again. I think now it could be quorate if all of those are in it. That could be a 5, that would work. But, okay, but now we know the direction of the loop. The loop goes here. Now the loop can't go into grey again, so it must dip. Because it needs a purple now. This is beautiful. It's beautiful. That's given us our 2 cells in this column, which is correcting the count for the 9, I think. So I don't think we go into this square. I think we must turn left into a grey. Does that make any sense at all? Perhaps. I'm not sure. This now has to be a 5. This is the only way of splitting that up. So let's put that in. Oh, no. What a load of nonsense I managed to do there. So that's forced. Now we can just get a count on this, can't we? Because we effectively we've closed the loop. In fact, the loop can only close in that position because it's got too close to itself. And that, oh look, yeah, it does work. It does work. I mean, the fact that the parity is still preserved and working is such an immense relief. That's got to be blue, therefore. This is the wrong size to be grey. Grey is meant to have 0 mod 3, so it's at least 6. This is now 1. This is a 1. 1, 1, double 2. We might be getting there. It's not impossible. It's weird that this is all going to resolve, though. Now, but this digit is going to be the crucial thing, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've drawn that up there. That definitely is not valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's also a 9. That makes sense, actually, because it's effectively a mirror image of this clue because nothing overlapped in the column. So that's a 9. So if that was so the 9 must go there, which is not part of the C. The C is a 12. So there's an absolute boatload of nonsense going on at the bottom of the grid in terms of greyification. Oh, and hang on, but the E clue was 14, and I've only got about 5 of it. I've got 6 of it. Oh, so the E's going to have to go down to the E's going to have to go this way somehow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say all of these were the 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all it can be. That's actually totally forced. And that pens in the C. All of this has to be C. And there's just enough space, which makes me think this must be correct. This is genuinely thrilling if this is right, because it's not, I don't think, the most incredibly straightforward thing ever. Okay, so that being it just works again. You can just squeeze a 3 in there. You can make that a 1, that a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes, that 4 isn't complete. So the 4 gets its digit there. That stays as a 3. All of these are E. Therefore, they're all blue. That's purple. These are 3. Whoops. And that could be the shape of the solution. Let's see. I don't think it will understand what I've put into the grid as the solution, because I've used the E's. We might have to delete the E's and the C's. But let's just take a stare. I mean, I can't even see the loop now. But the fact it worked, and all those ridiculous regions all slotted in jigsaw style in the most precise way, means that we might, in a shade over 2 hours, be correct. What a puzzle! What a puzzle! That is brilliant. It well deserves both of the aspects of its rating. It's very hard and very, very clever. Fabulous, Math Pesto, fabulous. I'm very pleased and relieved to get through it, frankly. Let me know in the comments how you got on with that one. That was spectacular. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.